Their investor's goal was to get it back to this. This is the Marshall House during the Civil War. And so they won so many awards for restoration and preservation. I mean, the place is amazing because during the Civil War, this is actually a very important building. When General William Sherman burned Atlanta to the ground and they took over our city, this was the Union Hospital for surgeries and amputations. 65,000 troops in our city, and every 2 windows you see is a separate room. But this is what would happen. A male nurse would enter your room and he would hand you a bottle of liquor and tell you to drink it. And the moment you were drunk, the nurse would come back in and they'd escort you downstairs to this tiny little room. The smell of blood would take over all your sense as they lay you out on a table drenched in blood. You see the surgeon walk in and he opens up his kit next to you, which inside he would take out a big, huge metal piece. He'd put it right between your teeth and tell you to bite on it and say no matter how much it hurts, you keep biting down on that metal piece. Now, they just came in from Atlanta, so it was a long march for those men. No anesthesia available, as they just arrived in from the field. If you're a good surgeon, it only took you 10 to 15 minutes to complete. They would then wrap around a thick leather wrap, start binding it and start tightening it like this, and then the surgeon would take out a long, thin knife with all of his might, line it up on the leg, and with a deep breath, start going as fast as he can, going through the skin, the flesh, the muscle. The soldier's lying there going, shaken as can be. The surgeon's doing the best he can to get through all of those layers. And then the surgeon, several minutes later, he's forcing it through there, hits the bone. He stops and would take out that first knife, and then he'll proceed to take out the bone saw, which was about this much in length. It would be about this wide, go through all those layers, and with all of his might, snaps through that bone so fast and instantly the best he could. Soldiers start screaming, and it's echoing through all the hallways upstairs. And for those men, they were just given a bottle of liquor and told to drink it. Fear setting in their eyes. Meanwhile, downstairs, it's not over yet. The surgeon's finally able to separate the leg from the body, and now he had to stop the bleeding. Can you imagine all that blood? In order to clot it up in here, the surgeon had to do this. Take a handful of sawdust, a handful of lint, start packing it together and jam it in the open wound as fast as he could, creating a blockage. He then would take 2 hot branding irons and you start to cauterize and brand the whole thing, and more pain for that man. He's just trying to seal it up while taking a file and filing down the bone that he broke. Then he would take the loose skin, wrap it around, and sew it up and say next. Could you imagine the smell inside of that place? And that's one of the greatest things that guests of mine will encounter. Many guests of mine will say, there's a strange odor in my room and I can't quite place where it's coming from. It smells like a dead fish, smells like something's rotting inside. I've had guests of mine who tell me that they wake up to a weird pressure, but it's like this. Pressure in the front, and then the side, and then the front. Like someone's checking their temperature. Now the scariest thing that I've ever had a guest share with me, there was a couple on my tour one night, and I asked them just like y'all, I said, where are you staying? They said, the Marshall House. And I go, oh, do you know the history? They go, no, but something's happened and we're afraid to go back. And we got a whole about 4 more days inside of here. And I go, what happened to you? They go, well, okay, the woman, she goes, TC, before the tour I had to use the bathroom, and I'm standing in the bedroom, and she goes, say right here's a doorway that leads into the bathroom. She goes, I walk through that door, and instantly, she goes, I fell over so sick, so nauseous, and I'm getting a sharp pain in the center of my head. My heart's racing so bad. She goes, I'm yelling to my husband, help, 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 and I felt like I was going to throw up. She goes, I see the bed, and I rush through that door. She goes, it was the strangest thing. She was fine, like nothing happened. This happened to 2 guests of mine, and they're all staying on the 2nd floor. The 4th floor is the most requested, especially this time of year, as people will see a soldier huddled in the corner. But before we can conclude, the 3rd floor, that's where you want to stay, room 304. One night in 304, so there was a mother staying in 304 with her daughter. Now she had a tiny little girl. Mother's reading a book on the bed, daughter's in the bathroom. Mother heard her daughter speaking to somebody. Now she didn't get alarmed thinking it was her daughter's imagination, but she did get scared when she heard a completely different voice speak back. The mother busted through that door. She goes, "Who are you talking to?" And her daughter goes, "The little boy right over there? Sweetheart, there's no little boy inside this bathroom. Do you have a new imaginary friend I don't know about?" "No. He was right over there. You don't believe me?" So they started fighting. And then the little girl goes, "No, Mom, he was right there. And look, he bit me." She turned her arm over and there's teeth marks on the backside of her elbow. You can't bite your own elbow. That's when she goes crazy. She calls the hotel manager, says, "I want you up here right now." He comes up and his response, "Would you like another room?" That's it. They change rooms, nothing happens for the rest of the night. But y'all, some people inside of here though, something else happened. 1876, 1,000 yellow fever victims of that epidemic, and this was used as a hospital for that. So you had families who tragically died, soldiers who died inside of there, and then some people will get so scared and so worked up in their rooms, now they can't take it anymore. Their mind is going the whole time that they finally run out into the hallways, and then they realize that the hallways look like The Shining. And then they get really scared. And so you have the Stanley and the Marshall House, the two most haunted hotels in the entire country. So stay in there. And as we're going along tonight, this is what the hallways look like. As we go along tonight, remember what some people will do. They set up a camera, they push record, they let it roll anywhere, they take pictures of mirrors. You'd be surprised who may be looking back at you. In the city that's built on its dead, I do hope that you sleep really good tonight. And if something happens to you, please don't call me, okay? No. I'm gonna give you Waldy's phone number. You can call Walter. He's gonna take care of her for you right here. This man will take care of all the ghosts. Y'all were a lot of fun tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Hey,
what an awesome group.
Why did they concrete over the...